Hey, welcome back to another episode of Awaken Your Life with Angel, where spirituality meets science. I'm your host, Dr. Angel Jabali, your quantum health coach, and today I want to talk about your magnetic field. See, your magnetic field is what creates the things around you as well as it's what you're attracting. So, we're going to focus on what exactly this magnetic field is. Now, to make it the most simple as we can, think of you creating a bubble around you. And this bubble can only be created because of many charges, electrons and neutrons, elements in your body that has charges. Also, it's creating from all the electricity that is coming through your body, through the nerves, through the brain, and through your heart. And it's going up from your head into your body, down through your roots, from your legs, from your spinal cord, and it goes up and down. Just like that, it comes up and down from the earth. We know that the earth has a magnetic field. We also have that magnetic field that is going up and down. So this energy that is coming from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, it just keeps going. And that's how it creates that bubble. So if we see the energy coming through our heads, going in through our bodies and coming out through our roots and back up. This is happening for both us and the earth. Now, when it comes to the earth, why the earth has such magnetic field? It is because inside of the earth, there's a movement of this molten iron. So it's basically a melted iron that is surrounding on the inside core of the earth. And because this iron is moving around, you see an electricity coming from the outside, a magnetic field. And that's why the earth has that magnetic field, which actually helps so much to deal with the outside space surroundings and protecting the earth from things around it. Ironically, we also have that. But the difference is we don't have this molten iron that is found inside of the earth. We have our own iron. Ironically, the heart. The heart, it generates the strongest magnetic field in your body through these electrical signals that is sending out there through the heartbeats. And the brain too. The brain, which receives these electrical signals from the heart, is also sending through nerves all the way to the rest of the body. And even your cells can create these small amounts of electricity. So your heart, your brain, and your cell, they all send this electricity all around it. They create this magnetic field that surrounds you like a bubble. So here's the most important thing that you need to understand. Your heart is right there, the most powerful part of your body, believe it or not, because it's generating this magnetic field. And think about it. The heart is the one that pumps the iron. How is that? Well, because inside your blood, there's the hemoglobin, and the hemoglobin has the iron. And the iron is just floating through all the blood vessels in your body. Ironically, it's inside of us, just like the molten iron that is inside the earth. And as it flows through our body, it's causing that electricity, which is causing all of this magnetic field that is surrounding us. Just for you to understand, your heart is so powerful that sometimes it goes to 100,000 times of strong electricity going on and up to 5,000 times stronger magnetic parts than the brain. That's how your heart is so powerful. Many people have this thinking that the brain is the one that controls everything around your body, but it's not. It is your heart. Your heart is the one that is telling the brain what's going on and what to do, actually. The brain is just like rationalizing what is just said from the heart. When there's a communication between the heart and the brain, let's say 100 out of 100 times, 99 times it is the heart that is telling the brain what's going on, what to do next. And people don't think about this, but it's the truth. The heart is the boss of all of this. But here's more important about this. When we think about the heart, it's not just the blood passing. There's also a lot of emotions and thoughts coming through. So the emotions that comes out of your body and the thoughts that come out of our, these are also made of frequencies and energy. And they can expand the heart magnetic field or they can shrink the magnetic field. And believe it or not, this energy that is coming out of you, it is affecting you, it is affecting the environment, and the environment can be influenced your magnetic field too. So consciously or unconsciously, you are interacting with the energy around you, and your energy is interacting with the outside, and there is an influence going on. But it's just for you to get a little bit of a common sense in the world. Imagine you walk into a party. When you walk into a party, you see somebody from far away. You never talked to them before. You never even heard of their names. But as soon as you walk in and you see that person, something inside of you says, I just don't like that person. I don't know what it is. I don't feel good about this person. Believe it or not, think of you having a bubble and that person having a bubble, and somehow your bubble has touched them. That means you did not physically yet touch them, you haven't spoken to them, but your bubble has touched their bubble, and that your bubble has read their bubble. So by you reading their magnetic field, you're already kind of sensing what kind of person they're projecting, what kind of energy they're projecting. And that's, it's like a radar, which is like, I did not really believe in this person. And soon as you start talking to them, you start realizing, yep, I was right. And that's you simply picking up the signals that are coming from their magnetic field. It can also happen with people that you actually look at them and you never spoken to them before, and you just feel this good energy. You walk into a house and you feel like, oh, this place feels so good. It is your magnetic field picking up the energy of the surroundings. Or you walk into a street and there's nothing there, but you're like, I don't feel good about it. And God knows, if you walk a little bit towards the rest of the street, you're going to see that somebody was actually shooting someone. This is how your magnetic field can actually read the environments. And here's the most important thing that people don't realize: this magnetic field can extend beyond 5 meters. If you do the really good work on meditations and thoughts, you can extend to the entire city. This is how powerful you can create this energy inside of you. But many people don't realize that. And that's what is important for you, is to start focusing on your thoughts and your emotions. Why is that? Because the more happy thoughts you have, the more you expand this magnetic field, this bubble. And the stronger your bubble is, the more your magnetic field is, the less likely that you will be influenced by the environment, the less likely that you're going to get things that are ugly. Because remember, likes attracts likes. So if you are in a good state, you're going to attract good stuff. You are in a bad state, you're going to attract bad stuff. But if you have very dark thoughts, very sad thoughts, fear, a lot of fear in you, this bubble, this magnetic field kind of shrinks, and this is more likely to cause you to have issues. You're more likely to attract negative stuff. And this is a constant battle. Don't think that you're always going to be on the positive or always going to be in the negative. It's going to be a fluctuation. Life is about ups and downs. But the question is, how long are you standing on the low side of life? Like, why are you dwelling so much when you can find small little things to make you happy? This is why we say, go ahead, even in the dark times, try to look for the good things. And again, I want to stress on the idea of toxic positivity. This is not what I'm pushing here. What I'm saying is that sometimes we see something negative happen in your life. And yes, we look at it, we understand what kind of emotions going through, we understand what kind of lessons coming through, and then we move on. We don't dwell on it. We don't stay days venting about the same thing and feeling sorry for ourselves as if we're a victim. When you're doing this, you are shrinking this bubble. Of course, you have the rights to, once something big impacts you, to say, okay, I'm feeling sad and I have all the rights to feel this pain and understand what's going on. What is the lesson that I got to get out of this? It might take you maybe 1 or 2 days, and that is totally fine. But then you're going to the third day, the fourth day, if you're still thinking as a victim person and still thinking about the same thoughts, the same words, the same actions in your head, then you're not doing any kind of service to yourself. You're just starting to shrink your magnetic field. And what I'm saying this is all about is because there has been a study that's shown that every single emotion is releasing some kind of frequency, some kind of energy. There was one that it was done in Finland, which they actually measure people's body according to their heat sensations, according to their feelings. And they noticed that the people who are extremely happy, they will see in the screen this the entire body all yellow, which shows that there's so much energy in there. But then they saw that somebody that was depressive, their screen of their body was showing black and blue, which was showing them that they didn't really have much of energy there. So some emotions will bring you more energy, and some emotions will take away that energy from you. Like, for example, being indifferent, neutral can take away those energy. But if you have so much love, then you're going to see light up so much yellow in your body, which means so much energy is coming through. And different emotions will have other things. So, for example, shame or envy, you can see less energy. Anxiety, it has a little bit of energy, and anger has a little bit of energy, but the biggest ones with the most amount of energy is actually happiness and love. When they measure the frequency of each one of these emotions, you can see that some of them have very high frequency and some have very low. The ones that have high are usually enlightenment, peace, joy, love, acceptance. These are all coming above 400. When you look at something like shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, they're below 100 on the frequency. Even emotions, they are releasing energy, and these energies are coming from your body out. And this is the reason why you have to be able to understand what kind of emotions you're going through, work through the lesson, and then snap out of it. Let it go. Do not hold or attach yourself too much to an emotion that is not serving you. There's some people which this just shocks me, that if when I ask my clients how they're feeling, they can't express their emotions. They don't know what they are. And that's crazy to me. Like if you see in this Spotify video podcast, you will notice that there is a wheel with so many different emotions. And some people can only mention two or three, like sad, happy, mad. But there's so many other emotions, and all these different emotions have different frequencies. And it's important to be able to identify what kind of emotion you're going from, let's say, exhaustion to loneliness to happiness to optimistic. There's so many different types of emotions that people don't know how to express. And the more you're emotionally aware of what you're passing through, the more powerful it is, because you can navigate that emotion and be able to identify the things that you really want and the things that you don't want. Because when you start to know what you're feeling, you can go upwards in the spiral, and by going through upward spiral, you're just building that magnetic field. That bubble is getting bigger. So it's like you're going through this happiness that it just builds up, from optimism to enthusiasm to passion to love and freedom, and bam, your magnetic field is so big. But then there's people who start with the boredom, and then they get frustrated, and then they're getting angry, and then they get the rage, and then their jealousy and the envy, and they just going down the spiral. What happens? Your little bubble, your magnetic field shrinks. And this is more likely that you are starting to reduce your energy, and that way cause a lot of problems through your body. And why we're saying about problems in your body, it's because many people only learn in school about the physical stuff. Like, for instance, in biology, in class, they only tell you about the blood vessels, right? The blood vessels transporting the blood through your system, right? Your heart is transporting this blood through these blood vessels, such as the arteries and veins. So when you cut somebody, let's say you go in medical school and you see the blood vessels, you can see it, and you can see them tiny as it is. That's a physical thing that your eyes can see. But there's one thing also there. That's not the only pathway that is going on. That's the pathway of the blood. But believe it or not, we also have a pathway of energy that is coming through from our head all the way through our body. So it's like we have little roads of energy passing through, and that's called the meridian energetic lines, which is very much known in the Asian world. But Western world doesn't know much about this, but we do have those energetic pathways or streets or lines, you want to call, in your body. And these can be seen by some mediums. They can actually see this. Psychic people, some of them see them through and others don't. So it's an ability, but not necessarily. We don't really have all the equipment yet. And I say yet, but eventually, when we're able to see this energetic field, we will see where there is energy blocks or where there is an easy flow of energy through. The point here is that you want to have an easy flow. You want to make sure that every single one of these energy pathways, the energy is flowing so nice and easily, and there's no blockage. To get more into that concept, we talk about the chakras, which many people know about it. And there's so many chakra points, but we have the seven major one that is known by the society all around the world, which these seven chakras, they're like wheels in which they're bringing in the energy and letting the energy flow into your body through those all energy pathways. So they are like the sources of energies. If these wheels are not turning, they're not flowing easy, they get stuck or they move slower. And that's like saying that not enough energy is passing through your body. And if not energy is passing through them, there's more likely there's going to cause some kind of problems. Now, what are these seven chakras? The first one we have is the crown chakra, which is right above your head. The second one is right between your eyebrows, which is known as the third eye chakra. Then you have one right at your throat. That's why we call the throat chakra. The next one is in your heart. That's why we call the heart chakra. Then you have the solar plexus chakra, which is found right there on your belly. This is also known as the navel chakra. Then you have the sex chakra, which is where you have your sex organs. And the last one is your root chakra, which you find in the bottom of your spine. So these are the seven chakras that we know, that most people know about it. And energy is flowing through them. And believe it or not, each one of these chakras are connected to different organs and they are connected to different types of emotions and thoughts. So we're going to go through each one of them just for you to see that if some kind of emotions you have or thoughts you have can cause these chakras to get stuck on energy or to flow easy. So let's talk about the chakra and how the chakra can build up this magnetic field of yours, or it can actually cause problem in this magnetic field. Starting from the bottom, let's start from the root chakra. So the root chakra influences a couple of organs, like the kidney, the bladder, the adrenal, the anus, the rectum, and the large intestine. These are the ones influenced by the root chakra. So there's always the good and the bad coming out of this. So for example, root chakra, it can be bad if you're having a lot of fear and insecurity. However, if you have a lot of confidence and courage, then the energy is flowing nicely. But if you are in fear and in so much fear and insecurity about so many things in life, you kind of blocking the energy flow in your root chakra. And if this goes on for a long time and you're not resolving, then disease will start to show up, like constipation, diarrhea, colitis, Crohn's diseases, cold finger and toes. All of these are linked to the root chakra. And there's so many other diseases which come from these four different types of organs. So what kind of thoughts would come out that could block or could slow down the energy in your root chakra? I have here 5 affirmations that has been done by people that cause this kind of slow down in energy flow. For example, I don't feel safe or secure in my surroundings. I'm constantly worried about financial stability and survival. I don't belong anywhere and I feel disconnected from my body. I lack trust in the world and the people around me, and I'm afraid to take actions and face life challenges and head on. These are just examples of what people are thinking. And this eventually will lead to a lot of fear, insecurity, and blocking your chakra. And that way is more likely that in the long run, you will get some kind of issues, problems. Because you got to really think about this. Your body is like a car. If you take care of your car, great, it runs nice and smoothly. But if you don't change the oil, if you don't take care of the tires, if you don't make sure that the windshields are all well, what happens? Those light up signals comes right on your panel say, hey buddy, there's something wrong here. And that's what your body do. Every time a problem in your body shows up, a pain or disease, it's a signal saying that you have not dealt with that emotion, you have repressed it, or you kept the same kind of thought that is just destroying a part of your body. And that's why it's extremely important to be aware of your thoughts and emotions. So that's for the root chakra. Then we go up to the sex chakra, which is your sex organs, including the left kidney, the prostate, the uterus, as well as your testes and ovaries. Now, what are the two types of thoughts? You can have the negative thought, which is unfulfilled lust and a negative feeling towards sexuality, or you can have so much love and true self respect to all your desires, as well as everything that related to sexuality. When it comes to the sex chakra, if you are having a hard time accepting your sexuality or be able to express, the issues can start to rise. Examples: premenstrual syndrome, problems with the menstrual flow, ovarian cyst, endometriosis, and you can go over the keep listings. Even low back pain can cause from that. Now, I have worked with women who had PCOS, and many of them had their sex chakra blocked because of sexual harassment or being completely molested or raped. And that can easily cause PCOS on these women. And most likely they come with cysts. So this is just to show you a link of kind of emotions you have and what kind of problems can come from the sex chakra. Now, what kind of affirmations will come with this? For example, I feel ashamed of my emotions and desires. I am uncomfortable with my body and my sexuality or my sensuality. I struggle to express my creativity or passion. I often feel guilty for seeking pleasure or enjoyment. I have difficulty forming healthy emotional connections with others. These are all part of the sex chakra. And if people don't have this ability to self express, they eventually start having this blockage, and then, of course, causing some problems in the uterus, on the prostate, coming from this. Then we have the navel chakra, which is the solar plexus, which we find right above your belly button. Now, they are affecting your digestive system, which is basically your stomach, your spleen, your pancreas, your small intestine, your liver, and your gallbladder. And there's the two thoughts you have here is the pride and anger. If somebody's extremely angry or feeling unworthiness of things, they usually will start to create issues like diabetes, pancreatitis, liver diseases, all types of ulcers, gallstones. These are just some examples of what could happen if you're having so much, unworthiness going on in your emotions. Now, those who do have self-worthiness, they usually wouldn't have any problem with their digestive system, but those who do have less, they usually will start having all these kind of problems. Now, what kind of thoughts that can lead you to have these kind of problems? Examples: I lack confidence in my ability and often doubt myself. I feel powerless, unable to control my own life. I'm afraid of taking risks or asserting my personal boundaries. I'm constantly seeking approval from others to feel worthy. I often feel overwhelmed by fear and anxiety about failure. Believe it or not, a lot of people have issues with this chakra, and a lot of them have blockages. And it's more even interesting is that women, they usually have that little pouch, that little belly right under their belly button that it gets big by the end of the day. Like in the morning, they say, hey, it's so small. And then by the end of the day, they're so bloated. Many people think that this has to do with food, which you might have a little bit of a concern, but it's not only the food. Throughout the day, when you're feeling that insecureness and you're feeling that you're not worthy, and you're afraid of failure, you just build up that stress. And that's why they say, oh, it's cortisol. And cortisol is causing you to have that bloatiness. Yes, it is cortisol. But who actually released that cortisol was these kind of thoughts, the thoughts of feeling not good about themselves, feeling unworthy, doubting. And that leads to the cortisol released. And that's why you get the bloatiness. So of course, before even cortisol come out, it's what you think, it's your belief system that you need to work on. And people who have a lot of good self-worthiness usually don't have those bloatness by the end of the day. So this is just to show you how there is a big link between the thoughts and your body. Then we go to the heart chakra. The heart chakra, we also have an influence on the lungs besides the heart, as well as the immune system, the thymus. And usually people who are very possessive, they can be romantic, but they feel like so strongly attached, dependent, and they feel the loss very much, and they're grieving too much, and they're always jealous. These people usually have heart problems, as well as immune system. Sometimes the autoimmune system, which the immune system attack itself, the body itself, a lot of allergies, as well as some can lead to breast cancer from this. So it is extremely important to build a universal love, an unconditional love to oneself, because when you're doing this, then most likely these organs will be functioning. Now, usually, what will people think in this kind of situation where they're blocking their heart chakra? Here's some examples. I find it hard to forgive others and hold on to resentment. I'm afraid of being vulnerable and getting hurt. I struggle to love myself and I feel unworthy of love from others. I close myself off emotionally, fearing rejection. I find it difficult to trust people and form deep connections. This is just some examples of what people feel when it comes to love. And that usually can cause a lot of hard problems later on if they just keep building it. And they're basically blocking the energy flow that is happening in their chakra. So then we go to the throat. Now, this hits home really hard because I did go through this process of having my throat chakra really blocked, which I talked about it in my first episode when I had hypothyroidism. And this is how I came to actually understand this stuff and feel like now I really believe it because I actually did go through it. So you can see here from the throat chakra, it affects your throat, your speech organs, your lungs, and of course, your thyroid. If I having frustrations of expression, you get anorexia nervosa, asthma, bronchitis, hearing problems, and here it goes, thyroid problems, overactive, underactive, in my case, problems with the upper digestive tract, mouth ulcers, and sore throat. All of this based on the fact that you're having frustration to express because you're not expressing your truth, your authentic self. And this is kind of disease that you get. Now, the job is to actually have the freedom of speech, speak with your mind, speak it out without the fear of being judged. And I had for a long time had this fear of being judged. So I had a lot of things that I wanted to say, but I kept it inside. I was very submissive. And that led me to get the thyroid disease. But once I let it all out and I start embracing my truth and I start speaking my truth, the disease was gone. And this disease was known as not curable. But guess what? I did it by just changing the way I felt about it. See, the things that I used to feel, and I'll basically say these are the affirmations that I used to say back then. I'm afraid to speak up and express my true thoughts. I often feel like no one is listening or values what I have to say. I hold back my opinion out of fear of being judged. I struggle to communicate clearly and confidently. I find it difficult to express my emotions or ask for what I need. Like like I check all of these sentences because that's how I was in my 20s. I would do everything alone, but because of a lot of fears, and this is how it just built up in my body and ended up causing me to have a thyroid problem. And then once I find out that it was all based on my emotions, I start working on it and start speaking up and holding to my truth. And I healed. And this was not through medicine and this was not through surgery. That was just me recognizing the kind of patterns of thoughts that I had, which were leading to certain emotions, and how it affected my throat chakra, eventually my organ, my thyroid. So this is extremely important to understand all these chakras and which organs they're affecting, as well as what kind of emotion comes with each one of these. The next one is your third eye, which is between your eyebrows, which is also known as the brow chakra. So they can affect your eyes, your midbrain, your hidbrain, and your pituitary. These are all parts of your brain. And basically, if you are not really in a good state of clarity and you're following your intuition, you're most likely to have a lot of confusion. And when you have a lot of confusion in your brow chakra, that can cause tensions, headaches, migraines, visual defects, short sightedness, long sightedness, glaucoma, cataracts, sinus problems, some ear problems. So these, a lot of people also have these ones because they don't really follow through what they don't see their future clear, or they don't understand what they want, and some of them even reject their intuition. So here's some examples of things that people usually would think or affirm in such time. I often doubt my intuition and my inner guidance. I feel disconnected from my sense of purpose or vision for the future. I have trouble seeing things clearly, struggle with indecision. I find it difficult to trust my imagination or creativity, and I'm stuck in a rigid thinking and resisting new perspectives and ideas. So, this is how you would have blocked your brown chakra. And believe it or not, usually when you block the top chakras, the energy is not going to be able to flow from your brow to your throat to your heart. Everything is going to become so much lower, and that's usually where a lot of problems comes through the entire body. It starts from the head, it goes down to the rest of the body. Because remember, it's not like, okay, my brow chakra is not getting energy, but my heart is getting full. It doesn't work that way. It's like a cascade of flow of a water flow that is coming down from the top to the bottom, or the bottom from the top. Everything needs to be flowing nice and easy. If one of the wheels is stuck, then the energy will be stuck and most likely to dim your magnetic field, which is your bubble. And of course, we have the crown chakra, which is right above your head. Now, this has to do with your neocortex as well as your pineal gland. Now, these guys, if you are in a state of permanent and ease, without effort, happiness, this is the bliss time in which you can actually have heaven on earth. But some people are very unsatisfied and have so much despair. This is usually where depressions can come in. So, people who are not in that state, they can have Parkinson's disease, they can have a lot of mental disorders, epilepsy, schizophrenia, and Alzheimer's and confusion. All of these can come from you feeling this despair. So, what examples of affirmations that can happen can lead you to have such problems? Like, for instance, I feel disconnected from my higher purpose. or the universe. I struggle to find meaning or spiritual connection in my life. I am closed off to new ideas of spiritual growth. I believe I'm isolated, separated from others in the world. I am too focused on material concerns and neglecting my spiritual well being. So, this is more connection with the universe, with the God, with whatever it is that you connect of a higher above. And people push it aside. And this is usually where they most likely have depression. So it's extremely important for you to be connected with something out there. And that's why when I say out there, it can be anything from an energy, universe, God, whatever it is. We all need to be in a connection with our spiritual world in order to let that happiness come in. Otherwise, we're most likely to fall into depression. So now that you're looking in all these chakras, and you can see all these chakras are connected to organs, and these chakras also are connected to negative and positive emotions. And the more you shift towards the positive emotion, the more likely your body will work in a nice way, in a healthy way. And if you're doing the opposite, if you're going more towards the negative emotions and affirmations, then most likely you're going to cause blockage of energy flow through your body, and that can lead to diseases. Now, some people are not able to do this on their own. That's why there's so many different types of modalities of energy healing going out there, like Reiki, crystal healing, acupuncture, sound healing, biofeedback, quantum health coach, which I work with your shadow works, inner child, affirmations, and so many other things. So there's so many things out there, like even breath work and meditation. These things can help you clearly see everything that you're going through. So if you are in that kind of state, I would advise you, don't be afraid to seek help, because we are here to exchange energy and to help each other, unblock some of those thoughts and get out of those perspectives that is causing us to dim our magnetic field. And with that, we end this episode. I hope that I was able to strike a chord or kind of open your mind to a new modality, understand a little bit more about your body besides the physical body, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, Awaken Your Life with Angel. You can also find me on Instagram at Coach Bailey, or at YouTube channel through Coach Bailey, or at Dr. Angel Jabali 1111. You also have my website, which is www.angeljabali.com. For that, thank you so much once again for listening. And I can't wait for the next episode as I tell you so much more things that for you to realize how powerful you are. And just remember, no one can dim your magnetic field. It's all up to you. It's all up to your decisions of what kind of thoughts and emotion. It's all about your mindset. Shift that mind and have a healthy body and a healthy life. But until then, take care and thank you.